Hey guys, so today I want to talk about Lewandowski's finishing technique. And I like talking about Lewandowski because, in terms of just pure finishing, he's quite an outlier when it comes to that respect. So recently, I've been getting a lot of shots on net, mostly with having a low backlift to get the shot quickly so the defender can't block it. But it seems like, the goalkeeper can always save it, even though it goes to the corner and has decent power. But, with Lewandowski, a lot of his goals seem very simple, but he can always find the net. So I always wondered why. So let's start by watching this clip. So what I noticed when Lewandowski does quite often, he often like see where his foot is. It's pointed this way, and you know what's very conventional is people tell you, uh, take your plant foot and point it to where you're going to shoot. But I find that makes it very easy for the keeper to save, or more specifically, where your hips are. So you see what Lewandowski's foot goes as he lands. See, it goes from like straight over to the right, and then at the same time, the referee is blocking it. But his hips are pointed out here, so it's kind of hard to tell where exactly he's going to put it. He could like put it straight, or he could put it to the side. I find oftentimes, like no matter what, yeah, Lewandowski also keeps that same principle. So let's watch this clip. So after Lewandowski controls of this chest, you see this plant foot is pointed really over to the side. Um, so it depends. I find like when you go like to the bottom corner here rather than over here, it's a bit harder to like really like turn your foot because you're anticipating going here. But what's important here is you see Lewandowski's hips are pointed over here, and if he does turn his hips, it's minimal or at least very late, so the keeper can't anticipate the shot early. So also, he'll sometimes go straight forward, and then you see his hips are initially going straight with his foot also planted straight. But as he comes over, he like opens that hip and hits it to the side. So, that's kind of two ways to not put your hip in line. We're going to shoot. Okay, so here's my attempt at doing Lewandowski's first method by turning that ankle and those hips. So as I approach the ball here, see my foot is initially planted in this direction, and then maybe I don't do it as much as Lewandowski does, but I'm keeping in mind I'm trying to turn it a bit more over there. And then you see as I hit over here, you see my hips are pointed out over there. And rather than turn my hips onto the ball, I'm trying to keep my hips pretty much just in that direction so the keeper can't potentially read it. And then I hit, in this case, I hit this bottom right corner. And here's my attempt trying to go across the body. So like before, in my mind, I'm trying to kind of turn my ankle as much as I can, but without it feeling unnatural. Here you see, I kind of do turn it a little bit to the left. Now, when I looked at my old clubs, a lot of times I would like really turn my ankle more towards where I was going to shoot, so it would make it easy for the keeper to guess, especially if I turn my hips. But as I wind up and I plant, you see my hips are pointed there, and you see if you were to guess where I was going to shoot the ball, like you see like my posture, it kind of looks like I might hit it like over to my right and hit the bottom right corner. But as I make contact, rather than turn my hips, I'm trying to hit over to the right of the ball while keeping those hips open, and then taking leverage, kind of like lean over like this. So it's kind of different like when watching this clip because the ball like itself doesn't have that much much power or speed, but it seems a lot quicker because like even like without a keeper, like to me it seems a lot quicker since I don't really anticipate the shot until it comes off my foot here, whereas if I really turn my hips on to it early, like you can see it coming, so it gives the impression that it's a lot faster. I find Harry Kane does something quite similar when he shoots a crossbody. So like I mentioned before, that ball didn't have a ton of speed, but it seemed a lot quicker just because, the flair he had in the windup. So, as he is about to put his plant foot, it's pointed there, maybe a little bit turned, but it's more or less, in this direction. He doesn't like turn it over there, and then his hips are still, pointed over here like this. And as he hits the right side of the ball, you see that those hips don't turn that much in. And then to get leverage, I always wonder why he kind of leans over like forward into the side, but now I kind of understand. It's like to hit the side of the ball while keeping the hips pointed over to the right, and then to gain leverage as during the follow through. And finally, I kind of want to talk about the similar technique I mentioned briefly with Lewandowski. So I was kind of analyzing Ederson's goal kicks because a lot of times he seems like he pings the ball and does really good passing accuracy. Um, but I noticed his plant foot is very wide and he opens his hips quite a bit. So let's watch this clip. So as Ederson like plants his foot there, you see his foot is really pointed over there, but he hits it like straight on. So as a result, you really have to open this hip as you do it. So I was practicing this to see if I could get greater distance. Didn't seem like I could get that much distance. Just as a side note, what really got me distance was as I wind back, not to wind back too far, but as I come in to like kind of kick at the knee and do this, rather than just use my thigh. So as I come in forward and I really kick forward with my like at the knee as well, just as a side note. But having the plant foot pointed over to the side didn't really produce much power, but what it did was produce more flair. So actually, a couple times, like I pinged the ball doing it this way, and like a lot of the opponents just stand still watching because they can't really anticipate where the ball's going. Sometimes when you watch, actually, I found Xabi Alonso. He does a lot of his pings similar to this. Um, like during the game, a lot of times I find like some players like are really good at like passing the ball on, but I wonder why that is. Because if any half decent player, like maybe not during the game, but like if you were just passing to me like 30 yards and like I mean you could probably do it. It's not that difficult, but having enough flair and also having the right timing and all that, that's what really can get a good accurate pass. Yeah, I wanted to bring Ederson's technique because, after I studied that for a while, I was kind of looking at some of those components he had in other players in terms of shooting or passing. This is Kaka in like a pickup game that he did. I just kind of want to show some similar way he shot the ball here. Okay, so you see as he takes his last step there, you see how his foot, his plant foot is pointed almost like square across here, and then he hits like straight towards the net. So initially it made me wonder, but yeah, it kind of makes sense because I think that way, like the keeper can't read your hips since you're opening it wide. And actually, anecdotally, like I remember playing some games just passing. Just when I'm in like kind of like in the zone and playing well, I remember naturally a lot of times I just open my hip at the last second. Like I see like maybe my teammate there, and then rather than hit it straight on, I just open my hips at the last moment and then like pass it over there. So I think it's the same principle.